Hello everyone, me and Byron have just got done watching Smackdown. Well, Byron just got done. I was done probably about 15
minutes ago.
But,
Wait,
yeah.
Are we in a recording room? We're not even in a recording room. What's wrong with you?
User left your channel.
We're now in the recording room. There you go.
Hooray, audio quality.
There, you've now experienced the fun that is us recording and not being on our A game. There you go.
Correct. I blame it on the immense amount of smoke inhalation I've suffered.
This is true. That is a thing. Alright, we're doing this whole good, the bad, the ugly thing again. So let's start off with the good. I'll lead us in. I enjoyed the Chad Gable sit-down interview. The actual content and stuff was not great, but he has, I think, a comedic chops, which he has shown before. But it makes me think that maybe someone in the creative department's actually seeing that, and we're going to get more Chad Gable in the future.
Yeah, they really put it across as like a genuine interview, not a scripted event, much unlike the female champion who reads from the scripted it.
That is true. That's really all I have to say on it. It was like a 2-minute thing, so not a lot to really talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And the next positive thing, I had 4 positive things in total. I enjoyed the John Cena segment. I thought he did he did everything you really would want him to do. This is like the perfect use of Cena. He got me slightly hyped to see the card for the Battleground pay-per-view. Went through all the highlights in a very quick and effective manner. Got me hyped to see his own match against Rusev, which I'm fairly excited about. I think they're going to have a good match, and I think I like the storyline. It's all good. And really, just that was all good. Tad bit overly patriotic to me, but I'm not American, so it's not supposed to speak to me.
Yeah.
And I did think when he did the I'm ready thing like 4 times, probably could have just gotten away with say everything twice.
You're kind of one of those motherfuckers who criticized Churchill for fighting people in more than one location.
Well, it was a bad plan if you could get away with not doing it.
But, I mean, he was fighting them on the beaches, and in the landing zones, and in the air.
And even the Rusev attack after he was done was pretty good. He, got beat up a little bit, got put in the accolade, had a good spot where he almost got out of the accolade, showed off his power. He built up Super Cena, but at the same time eventually succumbed. So you believe that Rusev is a legitimate threat. You put Rusev over pretty strong. And at the same time, John Cena looks strong. And you have 2 guys who both look strong heading into a match at the pay-per-view. Perfect freaking booking. Now do that more.
Do that more than once would be great.
Yeah. Your turn.
Really the only thing I could point to that was really good on the card was the Fashion Files, which is awesome every single week. I think the last week or the week before was the least awesome, but that's like saying, well, I didn't
last week was
care
really
for that
good,
brand
actually.
of chocolate. I don't remember. One of them
I
in the
enjoyed
last 2 or 3
the
weeks.
Fashion Files Texas Ranger bit was good.
Yeah. So was that last week?
That was last week, yeah.
Okay, so the week before wasn't totally, awesome, but that's like saying I didn't particularly care for that chocolate. I'll just have another chocolate, and this one's a little bit better. So, yeah, other than that, everything on SmackDown was pretty ignorable, and there was a few things that I could point to that were bad.
Yeah, I got a couple things I'm going to point out that were bad, just on the Fashion Files thing. Really enjoyed it, like you. Fantastic spoof of the X-Files with Moldango. I marked out hard for that. It was good.
And they worked 7 in at the end, which was fantastic.
Yeah, that was also fantastic. The Tully the horse's head was in the box that was delivered by the little green man. And oh no, this was all kinds of really good. And they even worked Aiden English in there. And
yeah,
that was probably the most over Aiden English has been.
And they would like you to believe.
They would like you to believe, and I also like the unintelligent lifeforms deal they had up on the
Who was that? I couldn't tell.
Didn't catch who it was.
You're horrible.
I have to look at it again. But yeah, this was all really good. This, dare I say, this might actually have been the best outside of Deputy Dillinger Fashion Files they've had. So,
Agreed.
just doing some really good stuff. I just wish that I thought that this was leading to something more than just a mid-card comedy geek angle. I just, them with the tag belts would be so good.
They would be the best, and they would make a lot of money, and by proxy, the WWE would make a lot of money. That's why they won't do it.
I am very intrigued as to who they're going to be facing at Battleground with the whole note thing. So, like I've said a couple times during our Fashion File breakdown, I'm very intrigued as to who is the feud with. I'm very intrigued because I have no idea who it could be.
I don't know, because I don't know who... I really have no idea who's even on the roster. You're
pretty much out of, tag teams at this point, so unless you're bringing someone up from NXT, new signee, or something, I don't know. I'm fascinated.
I wonder if they're debuting somebody, not from NXT, but if they've signed somebody in secret.
Sort of a Mike Bennett type deal?
Yeah, it could be.
So that was all good, and the only other thing I got kind of excited for was AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. The backstage interview, I think, really played to Nakamura's strengths.
Yeah.
Doesn't say much. Just looks aroused, basically, at the idea of the U.S. title. Points to it. Says he's coming for it. Very short, very sweet. Does the job. Hides Nakamura's general rough English. His English is actually better than I was led to believe. Jim Ross was having a podcast about Nakamura at one point before he had debuted in NXT, saying that his English was considerably weak, and it's that kind of set the bar really low, and he's actually over-delivered on that. So probably that's actually maybe a good thing to do with foreign stars. Just tell me that they really don't speak English before they come in, and then it's like, oh, that's actually not that bad.
Yeah, they just had him say a couple of words, and anybody can get a couple of words out, so I'm assuming virtually any language. Maybe not Gaelic, because that's not a real language.
That's really fucked up. That stuff. And then the main event match, actually, I thought was pretty good. They worked really well with Owens and Corbin. Pretty decent stuff, good action. I was never bored during it. They came up with an ending that was reasonably solid. I mean, I like the go home show to have a face win to end it off personally, but that's just me personally. So
well,
heels winning was a little bit less.
If you're gonna have the faces win on the card, you can't have them win on the home show. Vince doesn't allow that.
Yeah, the thing is I kind of wouldn't. I guess AJ just recently got the title. I was thinking that I wanted Owens to beat AJ, but good point, I suppose. That he's not had the title for long enough to take it off him.
And they're not doing anything with the title anyway, so they might as well just have it on AJ and make it look flashy.
Well, I would have taken it off AJ. That way you can free him up to go after freaking Jinder My Balls and take that belt.
That's an option, but they won't do that either. That would make money.
Yeah, no, the Jinder Mahal title thing. You know what? Might as well segue into that right after this. I am going to say, though, they utilized Nakamura better in this match than they historically have. They let him do more offense than they tend to, because they usually have him oversell. Not that he's overselling the offense per se, but that he's selling, I would say, 75% of the time he's in there usually, and this was noticeably better. He was actually kicking ass probably more than 50% of the time. So, plus. And then, just because I brought it up, the Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton, Punjabi prison thing. I like the structure. They made good use of the visual of it with Randy climbing it, but nothing about this promo made any impact on me.
Yeah. The only thing I got, I've never seen a Punjabi prison match, so I do not know what it's about. And I made a very clever joke, which Mio did not laugh at, which was to call it a Punani prison match, and just got nothing, because Mio doesn't have a sense of humor.
It's a lie.
Keeps it in a jar. Keeps it in a jar next to his bed. And, but yeah, I got to see what the whole thing was, so that's cool. And then there was that awesome guy right at ringside with one of the cameras had a stupendously hot mic, and this guy's just going, oh yeah, here we go, oh yeah.
Honestly, I found it annoying, but if you loved it, you loved it.
Here we go, oh yeah. No, it was totally annoying, but it was about the only amusement I got, because, Jinder Mahal, and then Randy Orton, yeah. And then we had spicy commentary guy. Oh yeah, here we go, oh yeah. So, I mean, it was almost like a really bad commercial jingle. Just hit all the wrong notes and somehow it comes together.
Yeah, the whole Jinder Mahal thing this is just such a bust. Like, what positive comes out of this? Like,
you get to make your whole title look like a piece of trash.
It's not positive.
Oh,
I'd better hear that, like, subscriptions in India went up 1,000% to make this worthwhile.
That's a negative ghost, right?
I didn't say that I thought it was likely. I said if you could tell me that, maybe I'm down with this. That's about it.
I actually heard you specifically say just that.
No, not at all. All right, kick us off on the ugly portions of the show. What do you got that you wanna vent about?
Well, the commentary was again giant buckets of rancid dog crap.
Particularly when they had Natty on there, was really bad.
Well, I mean, why not add 6 or 7 more people? You've already got a 19-person booth. Just, 6 or 7 more commentators would be fine. No problem. But JBL was just the worst. He was trying to be super heel, and then he would contradict himself in the very next statement, and then he would ask somebody a question, then immediately interrupt that person when they get like 2 words out with another question, and then interrupt himself by asking a third question, and none of it made any sense, and it was just fucking bad. Just fucking bad. End of just underline fucking bad. Also, Naomi, whose name I struggle to remember on the regular basis because she's very boring. Again, she is reading from a script. Very, very much so. Homegirl, I will represent. Yes, because Glow. Just fucking bad.
Pretty much.
I'm running out of... There's just no other way to describe it. Fucking bad. And that's... I can't point to anything else that was on the show that was bad. It was just a vast majority of, again, already seen that stuff. I would put the female schmoz interview into the fucking bad category again, but yeah. I've seen so many of them at this point. They might as well have nothing else on the show but these things. I'm so over how bad they are. It doesn't make the schmoz
interview not bad though.
No, it doesn't. But I've seen so many at this point that it's just I'm over it. I'm over how bad they are. I just expect them to be a total train wreck.
From the commentary and the schmoz interview, I want to kind of back into Natty Neidhart's just character. And if you've been listening to this podcast really at all, and I've talked about Natty Neidhart, I have a lot of respect for the lady. She's a fantastic worker. I enjoy her matches most of the time. She has a great legacy. I think WWE has horrendously misused her because I remember looking up if she'd ever been women's champion. She's been a Divas champion once. When you consider some of the people that have had 3-4 reigns with that belt, man, that is sad. It's really just sad. But the current character they have her working is particularly bad. The Queen of Black Hearts or whatever the role in.
I thought she was black and a Queen of Hearts.
No,
she's having some melanin surgery.
I doubt that is the case. But this whole gimmick doesn't really work. So you got her there basically using the Bret Hart lines. Best there is, the best there was, best there ever will be, that kind of thing. And then really picking at Charlotte for using the woo or using the Flair name or whatever. The problem I have with this whole storyline is, number one, is that they're really not feuding. It would be better if this was a 1v1 feud as opposed to being part of this whole female schmoz. So maybe they're going to go to that eventually, and maybe that will be okay. I don't know. But the gimmick doesn't really work because... Couple things. I understand the heels can be delusional and not really aware of reality. That's how they become evil people, basically. And you can totally call the kettle black in a nutshell because she's making fun of Charlotte for doing the exact same thing she is. The problem I have is that this does not work when Natty has been booked as a joke and a crazy cat lady for a really, really, really long time, because it puts the delusion to a level that I want to give her a hug and give her the number of a really, really good therapist, because that's what's required. It's not heel heat. It's not. I don't hate this lady. I feel sorry for her. That's not good.
Yeah, if they could at any point book a heel that wasn't delusional, that would be awesome. Because I don't know any other federation that only exclusively uses heels as delusional heels. I don't know of... I can't point to anybody on the WWE roster that is a heel that isn't delusional. There's not... but if you look at, for instance, New Japan, Suzuki, not delusional, he's just fucking evil.
Well, he may honestly be delusional as well.
That's a whole other thing, though. He might just be psychotic. Maybe he's got the paranoid schizophrenia, but he's just fucking evil. He isn't convincing himself that by ruthlessly attacking all people all the time, he's inflicting peace upon the world. That's not how
I believe the idea of world peace actually is painful to Suzuki.
That is true. So, I mean, there's none of this, and you can point to Naito. Naito's not delusional. He hates the fans. He hates the system. He's evil because he's fighting against all of the things that people love. Or, basically that's
in contrast, in WWE, we have Natty Neidhart or Jinder Mahal,
or Kevin Owens, who is I am the face of America.
Owens used to be a good heel too, and they've ruined it. It's almost like when Vince McMahon started getting interested in Kevin Owens, he had to ruin it.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I'm not a fan of Natty Neidhart's character. Big fan of Natty Neidhart. Just let her be herself. Frankly, let her be kind of a Bret Hart tribute deal. Work in some Angle stuff not Angle stuff. Anvil stuff, because that's that is her father. Let's do a little homage there as well. Maybe even a little Owen Hart stuff. I mean, I'm fine with this. You could do a lot of things with the second generation Hart type deal that would work reasonably well. And she's a fantastic wrestler, beautiful woman, actually fairly good on the mic. Not gonna light the world on fire, but it's perfectly acceptable. Just let her be Natty Neidhart instead of this crazy cat lady.
Yep.
I don't need to hear her talk about her cats. I really don't. I have no interest. Also, it's kind of weird because on Total Divas, they more or less have admitted she's married to Tyson Kidd. So what is this ridiculousness that she's like a spinster sister or something? Well, on your reality program, she has a boyfriend, husband now, and presumably they're having sex.
Maybe.
So just a bad gimmick. The other negative thing I'm going to go into, two things. The Kurt Angle story recap I just wasn't bad. Just was pointless. I have no real interest in seeing that kind of recap again. I mean, Raw is the higher rated show than SmackDown. I think it didn't do anything. It just ate up time that could have been used doing something else. And the other thing I'm going to talk about as a negative was the Mike Kanellis Sami Zayn match. You were not familiar with Mike Bennett. That is correct to say.
I'm not familiar at all. I figured they signed him because he's very good at wrestling, and I also figured they signed him to keep him away from TNA, and I also figured they signed him so that he's not allowed to wrestle anymore. And I guess I'm right on all accounts.
Mike Kanellis, real name Mike Bennett. I don't know if that's his real name or if that was his wrestling name. I should actually look that up.
Yeah,
but I believe it is his real name. But anyways, he worked in ROH, a couple other indies, also Impact Wrestling for a while, where I think he was their champion. If not, he was in the main event scene for forever and probably should have been champion type of deal. And he's a very good wrestler. Not 5-star Kenny Omega, Naito, Okada level match guy, but not even Sami Zayn level guy. But
can confirm his real name is Mike Bennett, and can confirm that he was an IWGP Tag Champion with Matt Taven.
There you go. Yeah, he was part of the Kingdom in ROH as well as New Japan.
It's TNA X Division Champ one time, ROH Tag Champ one time, various smaller things.
He was never the Impact Champion? Man.
Nope.
Drop the ball there, Impact. Drop the ball. Not surprising, though. Anyways, continuing on. You have this actually very talented guy. Very good in the ring. Good mic. Good-looking guy. You brought him in with Maria Kanellis, who's an insanely attractive lady and was pretty much the best part of this match was the length of her skirt. And you have him do, number one, this whole lover, power of love gimmick. Dead on arrival, in my opinion. I know some other people say give it a chance, it'll do something. I gave it a chance, and I think I was right.
This is the only match they've ever had. I don't think you've given it a chance.
This is the thing. You now have had a match with Sami Zayn. You and I are very high on Sami Zayn. This is correct to say?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic wrestler. Amazing wrestler. And you didn't let Mike Kanellis wrestle. He got his ass kicked for a while, which is fine. He's a heel. I understand that. But at no point was I even thinking this guy is capable of wrestling. I mean, he did a Samoan driver at the end to get the pin. That was the extent of, like, oh, he does know a wrestling move. But he's being portrayed as absolutely nothing. And I don't understand why you would sign, maybe not a main event talent, but a guy who at least should be like IC title, US title at some point in his career level.
I mean, they just signed another delusional heel. That's all they do is delusional heels.
Yeah. And this may be the ultimate of delusional heel stuff. Like, we are super mad that Sami Zayn had a match and came out when he was told to come out and interrupted our Power of Love promo that, based on how that went, we weren't supposed to have time for. So, yeah. So that was bad. I did not enjoy, because these are two talents. Three if you include Maria, because I think Maria is actually very talented. And not necessarily as like a wrestler, but as a manager / personality. A lot of promise there. She can play. She's actually a very intelligent lady who played a complete idiot on TV for a long time and did it convincingly. She's got acting chops. This could be money, and when they put them together, I'm like, oh god, we're gonna get Sami Zayn and Mike Bennett in the ring. It's gonna be fantastic. This feud will turn me around on this whole Power of Love gimmick, and I've lost any hope of that happening. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, since you've given up, you basically gave up on it as soon as they came out of the fucking apron for the first time, dude.
I did. I'm not going to deny that, but it got kind of excited when they put it with Sammy.
Well, I don't know. I have no idea how they're going to do it, but I also don't know anything about Mike Benellis, so it could be good.
Go. That's what we're going to call him from now on.
There we go. So I just do that now. I'm willing to give Sammy the benefit of the doubt, and
oh no, I'm not putting this on Sammy at all.
Whoever overbooked this piece of shit should probably just be fired, and that's all there is to it.
Other than that, we had Becky submit Charlotte and then have a beatdown after the match, and we had Jimmy Uso defeat Kofi Kingston, and I have no thoughts. I really have no thoughts on either of those matches. Well, a little bit on the Becky match. The commentary distracted me to the point where what was probably a serviceable match, not the best they can have, but serviceable, and really killed it for me.
Yeah, I thought the women's match was meh at best. There was a lot of sloppy, lazy, we're going to hug for an extended period of time.
There was some bizarre sloppiness.
There was one point where Charlotte was going to, or they did a fake natural selection into an I don't know what arm grab thing, and it was like Charlotte just kind of wanders over vaguely, hesitates, thinks about it, and then does a sloppy front roll, and I'm left going, what? And there was another part where I think they were supposed to do an arm drag to the outside, and they ended up just kind of hugging and gently scampering over towards the ring ropes, and then one of them slid gently between the ropes and then stood outside for some reason.
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't really even get into the match, so I guess on the bright side it meant I didn't notice some of the sloppiness.
I turned the audio off. That's how I was able to concentrate.
yeah, Yeah, I should have thought of that as well.
Yeah.
But, one of us had to suffer through it, I suppose. It's the logic I'm using. I'm sticking with it.
Never.
So, I guess in the end, this is a positive show. I had more nice things to say about it than negative, but I would hesitate to say that it was a particularly good show.
It was ignorable. The stuff that was horrible, I'm easily able to just kind of misremember. It wasn't offensively
Except the commentary,
bad.
that's stuck in my brain.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I'm used to the commentary being so bad. It's just egregious.
I just had a crack at during the show that I'm like, why does JBL even do this job? Man is actually legitimately wealthy. I can't imagine he enjoys this job, and he definitely doesn't enjoy the fans, so why the hell is he doing it?
Because it's a meritocracy model! We've had a Friday model!
That's about as good a reason as any.
Yeah.
So that was SmackDown. And,
was it? I don't remember.
Thumbs in the middle. Let's go with that.
Pretty much, yeah. It wasn't offensively bad. It just wasn't anything.
Well, except for John Cena and Fashion Files. Those were, I think, definitive positives.
They should just rename the show Fashion Files plus stuff.
I would watch... I don't know if I'd watch 2 hours of Fashion Files, but...
Yeah, you would.
Give me an hour of Fashion Files and an hour of John Cena Makes America Great Again. Boom. There you go.
There you go.
That would be probably fantastic. And as usual, of course, we had to interrupt every match with a commercial.
Well, yeah. It's getting to the point where I wonder if you could just edit... I would like to try that one day. Just get a copy of Raw or SmackDown and remove every segment that was, like, entirely remove any wrestling match or segment that got interrupted by commercial and see what, if anything, is left.
The answer... Well, I mean, a lot of the interview segments don't get interrupted by commercial. But yeah, the matches almost entirely do. I don't think you'd have any wrestling left.
That would be an interesting... That'd be like, here's your weekly uninterrupted bit of Raw. And it's like 2 interview segments and a really shitty anything else. Promo packages do not count. Recap packages do not count.
No, man, I would agree with that. So, WWE continues to really kind of squander talent and their titles still on Jinder Mahal. Which is making it very hard for me to even really take SmackDown particularly seriously at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad thing is, it was going pretty strong before Mahal got the belt. And it's not just that Mahal has the belt. I mean, everything else has also gone to shit around the same time. They've gone to this smosh booking of the women that doesn't really get me invested or interested in any way. Tag team titles are being feuded between the Usos and New Day, which I will say the crowd is into, so just because I don't like it doesn't mean that it's a bad idea. That's something I'm quite willing to admit, but a lot of the other things I'm talking about that are not very good, the crowd doesn't seem to disagree with me.
Yeah, I don't care about the Goosos or the Moosos or whatever the fuck, because I keep saying Goose, Moose, Noose, Oos, Caboose, something. I don't care about them because they don't have real personalities, and I don't care about the New Day because they don't have real personalities. These are not people. I do not identify with the New Day at all.
Doesn't make them not real people.
They're not real. They're not real characters. I don't care. I cannot in any way, shape, or form identify with the New Day. I can't. There's nothing there for me.
I enjoy Big E. I managed to
occasionally he does hump stuff. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Not really the humping stuff, just like some of the
lie.
It's like just random lines he throws into some stuff really make me pop.
Yeah, that's true. And, he does get edited out of WWE stuff more often than anybody else.
Yeah. I've never really been particularly big on Xavier Woods, nor when he was Consequences Creed and Impact Wrestling, to be honest. Kofi, I enjoy in the ring, but I've never really been able to invest in a character with him. I enjoy, his high flying and his Royal Rumble spot every year and all that stuff, but doesn't really matter where you put him. I just never really got into him I suppose he was at his peak when he was part of Air Boom with Matt Sydal. But even that was like a tag team that was absolutely the definition of devoid of character. Like, I didn't care about the characters. They were just very fun to watch wrestle.
Yeah, I wish there was just some of that going on in WWE today. Some stuff that's fun, some people that are fun to watch wrestle. However, there's just nothing fun I'm seeing here.
Fashion Files.
Yeah, but I mean wrestling. I haven't
seen... No, the wrestling-wise, like, the best match on today's card was the main event tag match, which, while proficient and serviceable in every way, and I did put it as a plus, it still was far from the best match I've seen from any of these men, except for possibly Baron Corbin.
Yeah, and I know that's why they're doing this, because they really want Baron Corbin to come along as quickly as possible. So you put him in the ring with the best guys possible, and you're doing that. So kudos, good job, appreciated. But I want to see Nakamura kick the shit out of somebody. I want to see AJ Styles wrestle the shit out of somebody. I want to see Kevin Steen wrestle the shit out of somebody, and I'm not getting any of that.
Yeah,
and I'm not getting any of that from the women's division. Other than I was shocked about how good Lana is in the ring, and now they're not letting her wrestle at all.
That's what I said when we were talking about Lana during the show. I'm like, I was afraid that Lana could not wrestle when they put her in that championship match, because I'd never seen it. And she went out there. She had a match that I probably will remember more fondly than it was objectively was, just because of how my expectations were. Mm-hmm. But it was solid. It was borderline good. And for someone that green, fantastic.
Yep.
And then they punished her because they basically depushed her.
Yep.
I don't understand this company. I do not understand why you do not want my money.
No, and see, with a company this big with 4 weekly live wrestling programs, well, NXT not live, but it was at one point live, you've got 4 weekly programs. And really only one of them in NXT produces any good matches on a semi-regular basis.
I'd say 205 Live usually has one match that I get into. That's not a good percentage, I'm just saying, on a somewhat consistent basis.
Yeah, but I mean, I get bored with watching Mustafa Ali for the 19th time in a row up against Drew Gulak again and again and again.
Yeah, that's a case of the talent they have there and the talent they choose to use is just weird.
Yeah,
I want Lindsay Dorado, I want Grand Metalik. I don't have a problem with Gulak or Ali or whatever, but we could be having some great, fantastic matches, including involving those guys, if you just let them.
Yarp.
It's like I said, like Noam Dar and Daivari bore me on 205 Live. I like them. Yeah. I enjoyed their indie work. And you're making me not care about them. Like, that's the weird thing, is like a promoter's job, be it in the fight game or the wrestling game, is to make me care more about the character or the fighter than I would have without the promoter. WWE has successfully made it the opposite. I care less about all of these guys than I did before.
But the good news is the G1 Climax is on now, baby.
Yeah, G1 Climax is going. We watched half of the first night.
Yeah, and then I decided I needed a midnight snack, so I had one, and then my buddy went, "You're going to bed now." Yep.
Which was pretty good. Nothing fantastic, nothing must see, but I enjoyed everything.
I mean, what do you mean nothing must see? Your boy Yano comes through again. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that was good. The Chaos on Chaos tag match was good.
Yeah, no rocks.
Yeah, the Okada and Gedo took on Jado and Yano, and that was
great.
It was very solid. That was a really good match.
Fantastic. So yeah, we watched the all non G1 matches, and then I'm going to force Mio to watch the actual G1 matches today.
That is the call.
And then we're going to podcast the shit out of that, and then it's going to be good, and you're going to have no choice but to like it.
We'll see. In all seriousness, we will totally do, I think, a G1 Climax recap podcast. Like when it's all done, we'll talk about like the last night in detail, and then just touch on some things that happened in the pre to that.
No, we must do all.
Otherwise, that's going to be like 20+ hours of podcasting.
Well, here I'll make you a deal. Instead of doing literally all of it, we do know which shows will be in English. So why don't we just do the English ones? I think that's maybe a total of 6.
Even those, you're talking about several hours of podcasting, sir.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here. Comment below.
I suppose if there is a demand, I will be persuaded.
Help me push the new show. Let me get it past this channel's Vince McMahon.
Whoa. If I was Vince McMahon, I would have Trish Stratus on my lap right now.
Correct.
And I don't. So that makes me not Vince McMahon.
You're obviously booking it wrong. I don't know what to tell you, Vince. You're old, and you're doing it wrong again.
Whoa. Vince knows how to exploit women on TV. That's the one thing he knows how to do.
That is very, very true.
Anyways, that's all we got for this one. Just giving a quick rack here of any news to bring out. Nope, not really. You got anything you want to add?
Oh, there was, if anybody isn't reading news updates and relies on us exclusively for that sort of thing, Finn Balor did take that guitar shot to the head, cut him open pretty fucking bad.
Ugh.
And there's no reports on whether or not he has an actual concussion, but he did get, the cuts are pretty fucking bad.
That does bring up another reason why the Finn Balor Samson, that just shouldn't have been done, considering that not that long ago Balor was concussed by Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
So, just another reason not to really like that feud, I guess.
Yeah, apparently he was supposed to whack him across the shoulders, but that didn't work, because accuracy.
I can't really put that on Elias. I've seen... I mean, we've seen the best wrestlers in the world fuck up foreign object spots. That,
correct.
To really particularly hold it against the guy is not fair. But
I wanna...
It does... It just, a guy who had a concussion not that long ago probably should not be your guy to go into kind of a hardcore feud.
Yeah, especially if they got a no DQ match next week.
Yep. So, that's bad.
I expect to see a Scottish Terminator.
Yeah.
Is he Scottish or Irish?
Irish.
Irish, right. Irish car bomb incoming.
That would be fantastic. He needs a move called the Irish car bomb, damn it.
He does. Somebody did, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, it's been done a couple times.
Huh.
Usually by Irish Americans as opposed to the Irish, but
well, yeah, because they don't fucking joke around about that shit.
Fair point. Alright, that's all we got. Get off Byron's lawn.
Correct.
And we'll talk to you, Thursday. We'll have the 205 NXT joint show.
Yeehaw.